Welcome, researchers. In this video, I wanted to go over a few resources that you might find helpful in your final project, whether you're doing the research proposal or the literature review. These resources have been helpful to me when I was an undergraduate student, and now even as a graduate student, I still refer to many of them. The first of these resources that I wanted to mention is probably the one you will use the most and you'll probably have to use, as it is the best way to find articles for your paper. And really, that's just the UNLV library website. You would just navigate to library.unlv.edu, and on this main page, this is where you can get started. Here at the center of the page, you have a search bar, and really you can just start by typing in your relevant subject. For example, if you wanted to research let's say mental health and school performance. You just click search. Now what this search bar is doing is it's searching through UNLV's entire catalog and collection of items. So you're probably going to get a lot of stuff. As you can see, we have about 20,000 results. And it being the entire library and its entire collection of items, you're not only going to have just articles, but you're also going to have books, audio recordings, video recordings. So there's quite a lot of information to sift through. Fortunately, you can, on this right side, refine your results through different filters. For example, you could click here under Format and say, I only want research articles. And then you click down here to apply filters. And look, it already took off like a couple hundred different results. And you can continue to refine your search through either this search bar up here. You can add different words, but you can also use the different filters as well. One thing I would encourage is that you log into your ACE account. If you're not logged in, you'll see this big yellow bar going across your search results. But you just click here and sign in, and you'll sign in with your ACE login. And I recommend doing that because it allows for a couple cool functionalities. The main one being the ability to save articles for later. Because when you're sifting through this long list of items, and you come across one that might be related to something you're writing about, you don't have to necessarily go and read the article right away. You can come over here on this main entry and you just click add this item, and you'll see that it's been moved into this location here, which is your favorite section. If you click on your favorite section, you can see that article we just added. But as well, you can see different articles that I myself are holding on to for later. Now let's go back to our main search results. So on our main search results page, and this applies to the articles listed in your favorites as well. When you're ready to look closer at an article or download it, you just click on one of these entries. It'll pop up with this big window with lots of information. Really, all you'll need to really focus on is this area up here, as well as this area down here. I would start up at the top. If you're looking just to download the article itself, it's really easy, especially if it has this icon right here, which is just Get PDF. If you click on it, you'll be redirected to a different page. And depending on the journal that has the article, sometimes it'll make you accept their terms and conditions before you download it. And see, here's the article that we were just looking at. And from here, you can download it directly to your computer, where you can either highlight it on your computer itself or print it out for your reading purposes. So if we go back to the main entry, sometimes if that get PDF is not there. Down here in this box, the View It box, it will give you different options. This takes you to different databases that have the article itself. And it's a very similar process where you'll just be redirected to another site. There we go. So again, here's that article you're looking at. And this is allow you to download directly right here. So in summary, basically, this is just telling you where you can go find the article you're looking for directly. If for some reason you have a hard time finding the PDF, it might be because it's just not on UNLV's database. However, down here, you'll have this option down here under additional services, which is request from another library, which is an interlibrary loan. And so if you ever have a hard time finding a specific article, if you click on this link, it'll take you to this area and make sure you're logged into your account. But you can actually just request the article and the library will find a way of getting that article to you. I've used it before and I have lots of friends that have used it before, and usually they can get an article to you within like a day or two. I also want to make note of one thing. For example, if you click on one of these like databases, it'll take you to the journal itself. If for some reason the journal's asking you to pay money to access it, please do not. As a UNLV student, you never have to pay for this. And if you come across that, it's either because you're not logged into your ACE account, but if you're still experiencing it, you can request that article through that interlibrary loan, and the library will get it to you. So just as a reminder, don't ever pay for an article. It's not worth it as a student. Last thing I'd like to mention about the UNLV library is that there's so many different people there that can be incredibly helpful to your research. So if you're ever feeling stuck or feeling like you can't find articles that are related to your topic, please reach out to a librarian. They're incredibly helpful and have lots of people there that are really experienced with finding research. The second resource I wanted to share with you is Purdue OWL. Specifically, it's Purdue Online Writing Lab. And I will have a link to this in the page on Web Campus. But this website I was introduced to as an undergraduate, and I used it quite a bit. And now as a graduate student, I still will seek and refer to this web page to help me out with little questions or concerns I have about my writing. APA style formatting is great, but it does change over time. For example, we're currently in the 7th edition of APA style formatting, and with each edition sometimes little changes can occur. And what's nice is Purdue University does an excellent job of keeping up to date with any changes that happen. But over here on this left side, you'll have an extensive list of different things, and you can kind of make sense from the titles of the sections on what they're about. And so kind of use that as your guide. Use your questions to kind of guide you to what sections to refer to. Like, for example, if you're already familiar with the basics, these other more detailed ones might be more helpful. Like, for example, I could come here to electronic sources. If I scroll down, there's lots of different entries, but they have one for like email. Like if you needed to cite an email in APA style format, I doubt you will have to do that for your project, but there is a way you can cite that in correct APA formatting. So back up to the top, another really useful thing I like are the APA style sample papers. And they have one for like a student related paper or professionally written paper. For your purposes, the student paper is an excellent example of the way APA formatting can be implemented into writing. And you can download this example if you'd like. It's incredibly helpful, but I would recommend you explore the different tabs, either out of curiosity or based upon the questions you have. But I would save this link in your bookmarks, as it might prove helpful throughout your whole college career. So the next thing I wanted to mention is something, it's not required, but it is a tool that I use on a daily basis, and that is a reference management software. There's a couple different ones out there. I personally use Zotero, but Mendeley is also a very popular one. But on my screen right here is Zotero itself. And Zotero holds on to copies of all the articles that I am reading or have read. But one of the reasons you would do this is that Zotero can create your reference list or your bibliography for you. It can also be used to generate accurate APA-style citations. And Zotero has quite a few functionalities that I really, really appreciate when I'm reading vast amount of research and doing a lot of writing. One of those is I don't even have to directly download the article. Zotero has a Google extension, a Chrome extension, that you can download. And when you're on one of these pages with an article you found, you can simply click the Zotero icon. See, and I had it go directly into one of my folders in Zotero, and you can see it downloaded the information, but as well, it downloaded the PDF. And so I could go to Zotero, and look, it's already right here. And within Zotero itself, I can actually I can do markings, I can do highlighting, I can make small notes on these highlights. And one of the nice things too is that it syncs across different platforms and different devices. So if I'm on my laptop, I can easily access Zotero, but I can also switch to my iPad if I really needed to. Additionally, one of the really nice functionalities of Zotero is that when I'm using Microsoft Word for many of my writing projects, I can actually use a Zotero extension within Microsoft Word itself, which will allow me to access all my articles, which can prove useful when I want to add or edit a citation. So when this happens, and it's not appearing on my screen, unfortunately, but it will be a little red search bar, and you'll be able to search for any of your articles, and you can select multiple at a time. But in this case, we'll just use the article we've been looking for. So I believe it started with neurofeedback. And when I type this, it will come up with like a list of items. And again, sorry, it isn't showing up on screen. But here you can see that it created an in-text citation and accurate APA style. Additionally, you can go here to add and edit bibliography, and it will actually insert a reference list entry. And if you have multiple articles selected in the search bar, it will insert multiple entries, and it will alphabetize them as well. And as you can see, it's accurate. It has a hanging indent as well as a DOI entry number. So as you can see, this can be incredibly useful when you are using Microsoft Word for your writing project. So if you were interested in using Zotero or Mendeley, you would just go onto their main websites. For Zotero, it's zotero.org, and Mendeley is mendeley.com. Now, this little section of the video is by no means meant to be a tutorial. These softwares have a lot of functionalities, and some that I am still learning about. There's lots of resources online, especially on their main websites, little guides on how you can use and best efficiently use their pieces of software. But I mainly want to kind of show you some of the things you can do with a reference management software. The final resource I wanted to share with you is one that I was actually more recently introduced to, and that's Connected Papers. One of the cool things about Connected Papers is that it can take a specific article and it can create a visual graph of articles that are related to it. So on its main page, you could come here and we can go back to our main example we were talking about earlier, which was like mental health and school performance. It'll come up first with a few different articles, and for simplicity's sake, we will just select one. And it will build and construct a graph of articles that are tied to the one we selected. You don't have to select one from the list. If you had an article already that you really liked and you wanted to find related research, it can build you an article like this. And one of the nice things too is you can hover over it and you can kind of get these little like summaries, which then you can later search for, probably mainly through UNLV's library website, and get access to these articles. I do want to note, however, that you are limited to a certain amount of free graphs in a month. As you can see, I have used 2 of my 2 free graphs this month. If I actually create an account associated with Connected Papers, I can get a total of 5 in a month. I personally don't recommend. As a student, you already have a ton to pay for, and you probably don't need to pay for this service. But hey, 5 free graphs in a month to help you find extra articles related to your research, to give you a bigger idea of and a visual idea of what the research is in a certain topic, can be incredibly useful. So I just wanted to mention it as a resource, but probably lower on the list of like priority resources to use, but something that could prove helpful in finding additional research related to your topic of choice. So those are the main resources I wanted to share with you. I'm sure there are countless others on the web, but I wanted to re-emphasize mainly that UNLV's library website is probably the main tool you'll use in working on your project. If you have any other questions or concerns, don't be afraid to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you with what I can. Thanks.